I can still remember like the first time I got to call a game with him. I did baseball color alongside him. I remember texting my mom and just being like, Mom, I'm calling a game with Mike Kennedy right now. Like it was like the top of the second inning. I'm just like pulling my phone out. I'm just like, I'm on the air with Mike Kennedy right now. Like it was just one of those like pinch me moments, because it's like, and I'm sure Wichita State fans will get it when I say this, Mike was larger than life.
Looking to make your home or business more comfortable and energy efficient? Kansas Window Tinting has you covered. As a certified 3M dealer, they provide premium commercial and residential window film designed to reduce heat, block harmful UV rays, cut glare, add privacy, and help lower energy costs by reducing the strain on your heating and cooling systems. Whether you're upgrading your office or making home more comfortable year-round, trust the professionals at Kansas Window Tinting. Contact them today at 316-755-1234 for a free estimate and see the difference quality window film can make. The voice of the Shockers, Denning Gerig. How does that sound?
It's pretty cool. You could say it again if you want to. That's fine.
Thank you for sitting down with us.
Happy to be here, guys. Thanks for having me.
You're a Wichita kid who grew up listening to Mike Kennedy, and now you're the guy replacing him. When you got the call that you got the job, what was the first thing that went through your head?
Well, it's kind of an interesting story. I wasn't really allowed to tell anybody for several days. Anybody. So for like 72 hours, I had to kind of keep everything to myself, which was a really unique experience. Like the first thing you're thinking is like, I got to call my parents or whatever. And I just had to be with it, which was really interesting because it is like the lifelong dream, I mean, if you're a broadcaster and you're working at your hometown school, it's like that's all you've ever wanted is to be the voice of your team. And so to finally get that call, it almost just doesn't feel real for a little bit. And I just had to kind of sit with that. So I don't even know, like at the time we were still like at the tail end of our baseball season. And so you're focusing a little bit on, like the next game in our conference tournament. It was hard to kind of be present with all of it. But now that I've really had some time to digest and process it, it is like, wow, like this is real. This is happening. So it's pretty special.
Did you always want to get into broadcasting?
I really did. I feel like I missed all the normal kid steps of like, I want to be an astronaut or like,
NBA player.
Yeah, like I just like jumped all those and it was like, no, I'm going to get really into talking, like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think I have a story that's pretty similar to a lot of broadcasters with like, I would go out on our driveway and just listen to baseball games and throw a tennis ball against our garage door for like hours at a time and just think like, how cool would it be to do this for a living, like to get paid to talk about sports? Like I cannot imagine anything cooler than this. And of course, Mike was like the guy. So listening to Wichita State games, it was like, I mean, when he's talking, you're listening. It was just like a special, kind of bond with the listener. And I thought that's the one that I want. Like, I didn't even really kind of think like, oh, I want to be with the Royals or the Chiefs or whatever. It was just like Wichita State because obviously they were having great seasons at the time. And when they're having great seasons, it feels like everybody in Wichita is just like in on it, And I think that's what's really special about this place. But I think from like day one, I just thought like, that's the career that I want, which is weird for like a 12-year-old to think that, but that's all I've ever wanted.
You're exactly right. When Wichita State is good, there is no better place to be in town than Charles Koch Arena.
Yeah.
It is so fun. It is so loud. It's so hostile. It's such a fun place to be.
It really is. And I don't know what it is about Koch that makes it feel that way, but like, I love the shape of it. I love the sense of like that dome and just, it feels like it is just on top of you. And I mean, I'm sure you guys, can remember individual plays or individual moments where it's like, it is so loud, you cannot think in that place. And like for me, it was like a first half against Tulsa, I think, and Austin Reeves made like 6 or 7 threes in like one half, including some just absurd heat check ones where it was like he barely caught that ball. And it was just so loud that you're like, I just want to like be in this wave of noise. And I'm sure every fan of every team is like, our arena's the loudest, but that place is pretty special. And I feel like we saw a little bit of that like the end of this past season, like those last few games, Florida Atlantic, Dylan Batiste windmill dunk. It was like, it's happening. Like it's here again. So pretty cool to be a part of.
Yep. And when they beat Tulsa at the end of the year,
yeah.
It was really loud.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, you brought up Austin Reeves. He had 7 threes in the first half, I think, which is a school record.
And it was just like absurd shots too. It's just like, what is this? What am I even watching right now? And I can't remember.
That's a great trivia question.
I can't remember why I was like front row. I think I was doing like a pregame show for KGSO at the time. And it came with like a credential, like on that media row.
Big time.
And so I was like right there, and he made the last one like pretty much right in front of me. And I'm like, I can't hear anything. And it was just incredible. So that's one of the ones that really sticks out for me, of just like, this place is going bananas,
What sticks out to me was when College Game Day was in town, when WSU played Northern Iowa, and Takeo Cotton windmilled that. So our season tickets are 125 right behind the goal, opposite of the students. And he windmilled that like right in front of my face. It was insanity. So loud, so fun.
I think I did like a tweet thread a few weeks ago trying to come up with like the best dunks in recent Wichita State history, and I'm pretty sure I had that one on there. I mean, Takeo had, 5, where you're just like, that's the greatest dunk I've ever seen. And
Takeo's probably got 2 of the top 5 in recent, maybe even more. Like
I would say 3 for sure. Like,
who's another
Northern Iowa,
epic dunker outside
Illinois
of him?
State, and then like he had an inbounds play.
Yes, here at Coke.
Where
David Kyles maybe.
David Kyles
could
That's
jump.
a great pull.
That's a great one. Big dunker.
That's a great pull.
Clancy Early had big dunks, too.
Yeah.
He had a huge dunk against Kentucky in the NCAA tournament.
His were great. Yeah. Like I felt like he would rise the moment, like big game, he would throw one down. But in terms of the overall resume of dunks, I'm not sure anybody can stand up there with Takeo. Just quite the plethora of jams.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
I wanted to start with how you got into broadcasting. So from an outside perspective, it seems like a tough industry to get your footing in. You really got to cut your teeth. So you started doing play-by-play in 2015?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Color for baseball, women's basketball, and volleyball?
I guess I should even back up a little bit more. So I knew I wanted to be a broadcaster, but there really weren't a lot of avenues in high school to do anything with that. And so when I got to Wichita State, I was like,
Where'd you go to high school?
I went to Mays South. Well, I went to Mays High for 1 year, and that split into 2 schools. And then I went to Mays South because I sucked at sports, and I wanted to try to play sports. At Mays High, like, they were really good at a lot of sports, and I was like, I'm never going to play on any of these teams. So I went to Mays South. So I get to Wichita State, and I was like, I got to get involved somehow. So I became a student manager for the baseball team. So washing laundry, like running machines at practice, like that kind of thing. Nothing even remotely related to broadcasting, but it was just like, I just got to start somewhere, And so I did that I ended up doing it for 3 years. And after a year or so of that, Mike actually came to me and he said, hey, there's this college summer team around here called the Dewbey Twins, and they need somebody to broadcast their games this summer. And I was just like, yes, like immediately yes. Keep in mind, I've never actually broadcast anything at this point. It's just like a dream that I have, but it's never actually happened. And so the Dewbey Twins is where it started for me, which was great because it was just like a bunch of games without a ton of, the pressure of feeling like I'm immediately thrown onto like ESPN Plus or ESPN 3 or something like that. It was just like, okay, here's 500 innings this summer to learn if you're actually good at this or not. And then the Valley on ESPN 3 got started, which was like a student-run production that was set up. It was supposed to be like entirely student-operated with the schools in the Valley. So back in the control room, running the cameras, and then obviously on air. And for whatever reason, there was just like nobody at Wichita State that wanted to do the broadcasting. I was like the only student broadcaster at Wichita State, which feels crazy to me, honestly. But I was like, I'll do them all. I'll do all the games. So that's kind of how it got started for me.
Wow. And then you had a stint with so after 2015, you go and work with the Wingnuts, correct?
That's right. Yep.
So for
post-graduation.
17 to 18, doing broadcasting and media.
Yeah. So I started as the intern, or what in minor league baseball would be called the number 2. So in most cases, you have a primary broadcaster who's like a full-time position, and they're usually doing innings 1, 2, and 3, and then 7, 8, and 9. And then the number 2 is usually doing like 4, 5, and 6. So it's a way for them to kind of get reps, get familiar with the broadcast while still having like your primary voice. And so I was that in 2017, and then I got the full-time job in 2018. And those teams were really good. I mean, I don't know if people really know this about the Wingnuts, but they were the winningest professional baseball team anywhere. So it was very easy to kind of like get into it with a team that was very good right off the bat. Called a lot of great games with a lot of good players, and that gave me a lot of confidence to kind of keep going for sure.
What were some of the most difficult things in the early years to get used to in broadcasting? Like things that we would never think of.
Do you
memorizing lineups?
No. Do you want like the specifics for minor league baseball, or do you mean like just broadcasting, like starting out? Because these are very different answers.
Just broadcasting, starting out.
I would say the biggest lesson in the early stages was learning to live with silence on air, because you feel like I should be talking all the time. And especially with baseball, it's a game that you really have to be good with pacing and be okay with silence. And it feels heavy. You know, it feels like, oh, I haven't talked for 4 seconds. Panic. But you just have to be okay with that. And I think in a good broadcast, you're letting it breathe. You're letting the crowd noise kind of come in a little bit. You want to be able to hear the pop of a glove or the crack of a bat or whatever it is. And you don't get that if you are just constantly like spamming words. So that was a lesson that took a little while to learn. It's just like, okay, I can make a point here and then just lay out until this next pitch, and that's okay. And then especially laying out after a big moment, big go-ahead home run late in the game, every fiber of your being is like, time to yell. and it's like, all right, make the call, like convey the information, and then just chill. Like, let's listen to the crowd here. Like, I even kind of liked it on the road because it would be like a silencer home run, you know, and like you'd be at a place that had a lot of people, and then all of a sudden it's just like deathly silent. So learning to be okay with dead air, I would say it was a huge lesson for me, and one that was kind of tough to learn, but you get comfortable in that silence for sure.
Letting the moment breathe is such a noticeable skill for an outsider when we're watching like Joe Buck. You know, those guys are so good at letting moments just breathe, big time moments.
Joe Buck is a really good
I was
example
thinking
of
Denny
that.
Matthews when you brought that up for the Royals. Like when you listen to the Royals on the radio, he was very good at not talking every
Great
second,
pacing.
and he didn't need to.
Great pacing. Yeah. He is like an economy of words guy, you know, says exactly what he needs to say and then just kind of lets it breathe. Both those great examples for sure.
He's done every Royals season. He did the inaugural season, and he's still doing it.
I told this story on a podcast that I did with Paul Solentrop at Wichita State, but one of my favorite Denny Matthews stories is he was calling a game with like a terrible Royals team. You know, it's like,
Most of them.
It's like exactly. It's like late August and they're 56 and whatever, and the playoffs are a pipe dream. And they're down to the White Sox like 11-1, and there's a fly on his scorebook, and he just spends like half the game describing the actions of this fly like around his scorebook, you know. But he like wove it into the story of the broadcast, which I always appreciated, because like I can enjoy a good anecdote, but also if I'm listening, I kind of want to know what's going on, obviously. And so he did it in a way that was like entertaining and kept me listening to an 11-1 baseball game while also, you know, not trumping the actual Major League Baseball game that was taking place. And it's one of my favorites. I would love it. I have no idea how I could possibly find it, but I'm like, there's gotta be a way somebody could track this game down. There's a lot of 11-1 losses to the White Sox to go through, but, but like theoretically we should be able to find this. So that would be a dream for me for sure.
So from there, In 2019, you head to Texas
That's right.
to do some independent baseball?
Yeah, so the Wingnuts were in the same league. It was
Okay.
called the American Association. And when the Wingnuts folded as part of the Wind Surge's arrival, that was the agreement with the city. It was like the Wingnuts would fold, the Wind Surge would come in, obviously build a ballpark downtown. So this team in Texas called the Cleburne Railroaders had just started 2 years ago. And they were like, we will take any of your people with the Wingnuts that want to come down here. Like, we don't really know what we're doing. They had a bad owner for 2 years. They were trying to like get the thing going in the right direction. The Wingnuts had been tremendously successful. So they were like, we'll take any people who want to come down to Texas. I'm 23 years old. I don't have a job. I'm like, why not? Like, this will be fun. Like, I'm going to give this a shot. So that led me down to Cleburne. Yeah. Indie ball, man. You got to love it.
Oh. And you did all 100 games in 2019 and 2021?
Yeah.
What a grind. Ooh.
That's
Grind is
baseball nerd.
Grind is a
Independent.
great word for that. Grind is a tremendous word for that.
Independent league baseball, all 100 games. That's a grinder.
And you're burying the lead, too. It's 100 games in like 112 days. And the 12 are just you bussing to the other games. You know what I mean? Like, at no point are you actually just like sitting at home on an off day. It does not exist over the span of that season. So everything that I said earlier about the Dewbey twins and just like, oh, I needed to get innings and just get better and that kind of thing. Cleburne was that, and then you crank the dial to like 11, where it's like, all right, you're about to call so many innings, you're going to forget your own first name. Like, it was a lot of baseball, but what better way to get better? You know, you're calling a game in Sioux City one night, you're calling a game in Sioux Falls the next night, you're in Lincoln, like, and you just got to bring it. Like, you're on the air every single time. You can't have like man, I'm not really feeling it today. Like, yeah, I'm just not going to, like, sorry, you know, you got to bring it. So great learning experience for me. Again, a lot of great games, a lot of great players. Love my time in Cleburne for sure, but a grind, no doubt.
Reps, man. Reps. Even what we're doing, it's just reps.
Yeah.
Reps is what gets you better. Even when you're not feeling motivated, it's just
Yeah.
reps.
There were a lot of bad broadcasts from me in Cleburne. I learned this from Mike Tirico, who's obviously, you know, kind of at the top of the craft. Apparently, after every single broadcast he does, he just immediately goes back and listens to it. And so for him, it's on a private jet. For me, it was on a bus with mostly functioning wheels. And it was just like, okay, like we're on the way to Lincoln now after this game in Sioux Falls. Like, I'm just going to pop the headphones in and listen back to that broadcast. And it's hard because you're in the fourth inning and you're like, I screwed that up so bad. Like, that was a terrible call there. But that's how you get better, you know? The next time that situation comes up, you're ready for it because you're like, okay, how could I have done this differently? And I think that's a very useful skill as a broadcaster, is listening to yourself and critiquing yourself, because nobody's going to be harsher on you than you. So I think that was something that really came out of that experience.
Right. I was going to say, and you answered it, but I'm like, don't you think you're your own biggest
sure.
critic? Like, in that fourth inning, most people may not even have noticed, but
Yeah.
you do because it's you.
And I think the really interesting thing with broadcasters, have you guys ever heard of like a demo tape or a demo reel? Is that a term that you're familiar with?
Maybe.
I'm not familiar with the term. Maybe I've heard it.
Okay. It's whenever you're applying for jobs or just kind of like strengthening your resume, as a broadcaster, you put together what's called a demo. And this demo can be comprised of like several different things. But let's just take baseball, for example. So you would want like one complete half inning where it's just like 15 minutes of you calling the game. You would want maybe some highlights that are just spliced together, like 60 to 90 seconds of highlights, and then maybe like a good storytelling inning or something like that. And so when you're putting together these demo reels, you're just kind of constantly looking for good calls, you know, that could potentially be useful to you as you put these things together. And over the course of 100 games, you'll like have a good inning and you'll be like, okay, that's one that I could absolutely use like later. Or like you'll have a good highlight call and you'll be like, okay, that's something I could absolutely use a little bit later. And so just being able to self-critique is really helpful because you're like, okay, that one could definitely make its way in there. But when you send these demo reels to other broadcasters, you're like, hey, could you take a listen to this one? Just kind of let me know what you think. you might send the same demo to two really talented high-level broadcasters, and they might have completely different observations on it. One of them might be like, hey, I didn't really like your call on this double play here. I think you could have been a little bit cleaner on it. And the other one might say, great call on that double play. Love the energy, So it is a very subjective thing, but just being able to self-critique, I think, goes a long way in that process.
Probably helped you in 2021. You were named American Association Co-Broadcaster of the Year. That's probably why.
Heck yeah. No, I was really friendly to a lot of people. I think
that had to feel good.
I would bring people cookies, and I think that goes a long way. No, it was cool because that one was like voted on by the other broadcasters, and so that was very much like a nice recognition of, other people are appreciating the work that you put in. Got to give a shout out to my broadcast partner as well, Brad Allred. He was the co-broadcaster of the year with me because we were a team down there in Cleburne. And a really good one at that. But it was definitely a good feeling, and kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier of just like the little steps, I guess, of validation, the little steps of like, okay, I can do this. I if I stick with this, like I'm getting better, and just got to stay involved in the process. So that was the next rung of the ladder, as it were.
So from there, you end up back at Wichita State.
You guys want to hear a fun story?
Yeah, I do.
I've told this to a few people of how I got back to Wichita State, but I think it's the most like indie ball story of all time. So my team in Cleburne, it's like the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It's about 45 minutes south of Fort Worth. We were the furthest south team in the league by a huge margin. The next closest team was Kansas City, so that's a long drive. So we spent a lot of time on the bus. Our bus at the end of the season was not performing well. It had just started to experience problems. AC starting to kind of conk out a little bit. The toilet in the back of the bus starting to overflow sometimes. Strange noises coming from the bottom of the bus. We make it to like game 70. This thing is just like squeaking. Sometimes we like roll into the parking lot and you could tell you're like, is this thing on? Like it's just coasting to make it into that last parking lot. So we make it to game 70. We are on our way to Chicago, one of our longer trips of the year. And we're in like truly the middle of nowhere, Missouri. I'm not kidding when I say I do not know where this was, but I have some photos to show you guys. And this thing finally kicks the bucket. Side of the road, it's done. Our bus driver, who happened to be one of the tiger trainers in the show Tiger King. You guys remember that from Netflix? Doug Terranova, one of the tiger trainers. He gets out, tries to fix this, unsuccessful. So we are now in the side of the road, middle of nowhere, Missouri. It is like late July. I think it is 184 degrees. We are all sitting on this bus in various states of undress because it is so hot. And I'm sitting there mostly naked, sweating like crazy. And I'm like, I've got to do something different here. Like, I've got to do something with my life to make this not where I am right now. And so I had one contact left at Wichita State from when I was a student manager. And I shot her a text and I was like, hey, like you guys wouldn't happen to have any like job openings right now, would you? She goes, oh yeah, we actually just posted our job for the baseball SID here. I think you should apply. You'd be a great fit. And I'm just like, if that wasn't a sign from something, like what are the chances? If the bus just goes to Chicago and is fine, I don't know if I ever send that text. Because it's just like, we're in the season, we're just going, like I'm fine, I'm happy. But it was like that bus breaking down, it was like, Denning, like, where do you want to be? Not on this sweat bus, I'll tell you that much. So that's what got me to send that text. A couple interviews later, I'm the Wichita State Sports Information Director for baseball. And I don't know who to thank for that one, but I don't know. It feels a little bit divine to have it all work out that way.
Life's so weird.
I know.
It's so funny how things like that happen. Seems like a lot of people have similar stories like that. It's just really weird how things just kind of work themselves out.
Yeah. And I'm very much a guy who, like, when I'm in the day-to-day of my job, I'm just not really thinking of like, oh, where do I want to go next? I'm just kind of focused on like the next game, the next task, whatever it is. And so without like a moment or an impetus like that, I just think I would have kept going. Like I would have just kept calling games in Cleburne. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I love that job. Great team, great franchise. I was just down there like 2 weeks ago for a jersey retirement. Love the place. But I think I kind of needed that, to say, okay, Denning, like, what's the next step for you? Like, is this where you really want to be? So shout out to the bus. I don't know how else to say it.
It's funny, like from an outsider, when you look at people that are in, good positions like you are now, you always, without us knowing your story, you think, oh, they were always destined to be that, or, they were super talented and they were always going to get there, but not usually. There's always stories like that there's a fork in the road. There's something happened where you sent a text and now you're there.
Yeah.
It's funny how things like that work out.
I know. And like, maybe there wasn't a job opening at that time. Like, so much stuff had to happen for it to all work out. And a lot of people at Wichita State had to take a chance on me because this job I applied for, sports information director, I didn't really have a ton of experience in that field directly. It's based on like you're writing press releases, you're handling social media. There was like a hint of like, hey, maybe you could broadcast if we need you, but like it wasn't really about that. And the people at Wichita State were like, well, we know you and we trust you and we know that you're a hard worker, so we're going to give you a shot with less industry experience than some other candidates for that job. So it took a lot, including some people having faith in me to do a job that I hadn't really done before.
You seem to have a similar upbringing as us as far as following Wichita State, hearing, all the voices, growing up, watching all the big games from 2006 all the way up till now. How was it for you now that you were back at WSU calling games alongside Mike Kennedy, just working with him?
That's a great question because I can still remember like the first time I got to call a game with him. I did baseball color alongside him. I remember texting my mom and just being like, Mom, I'm calling a game with Mike Kennedy right now. Like it was like the top of the second inning. I'm just like pulling my phone out. And I'm just like, I'm on the air with Mike Kennedy right now. Like it was just one of those like pinch me moments, because it's like, and I'm sure Wichita State fans will get it when I say this. Mike was larger than life. It was like when I say the voice of Wichita State, it's like the voice. It was
the only voice.
Yeah, like the authority of Wichita State athletics. And so, I was around him tangentially when I was a student manager, but not really like involved in the broadcast production. And then once he like knew that I wanted to really pursue this as a career for these baseball road games, he was like, I've got a second headset. Like, if you want to jump on with me, I'd love to have you. And I don't know how many words I said that first game, but it couldn't have been many because I was just scared. I was like, I can't screw this first one up. But gradually, like, just got more and more comfortable with him and loved getting to watch his process, like the way that he prepares for games. I've said this before in other interviews, but like that guy prepares for a Tuesday midweek game the same way he prepares for like a College World Series game. It is just like an intense level of like, I'm going to know what is going on heading into this game. He never wants to be caught unprepared. And that was really something useful for me, I think, to see what it takes to be great. Because I think a lot of people have a perception of broadcasters that it's just like innate, that I don't want to say that you don't have to work hard, but that you can just kind of show up and call the game and be good at it. And it's like, maybe some guys can, but you have to love the work that goes into being a broadcaster and love the preparation. And I know Mike does. So getting to see that firsthand was just as cool as like actually getting to call games with him.
Are there one or two things that you have specifically adopted from Mike that you've learned over the years that you'd be willing to share?
I don't know if I would say I've adopted them, but there are a couple things that I've noticed or learned from him that I thought were really interesting. For one, as I'm sure you guys did, like everybody, when you talk to Mike, you're like, what's your favorite call? Or like, what's a big call that you remember or something like that. And I asked him a question like along those lines, and something he said that really was interesting to me was that he doesn't like script the big calls, which a lot of broadcasters do. Like say your team's about to play for a championship, maybe the night before you're like, all right, if we win this, like I'm going to write down like a few words to say. And I believe he did it for like one game to go to the Final Four, the say it slowly, savor it, that kind of thing. But for the most part, he was like, I just want it to come to me. And I thought, wow, like I love that, because what better way to like truly be in the moment than just saying, I'm not going to plan this out. I'm going to see what I'm feeling when this really happens and just let it be authentic and real. So I hope that I get to apply that lesson someday. Like I hope that Wichita State is playing in the Elite Eight and then I'm sitting there in the hotel room the night before thinking, nope, we're going to let it ride. Like I'm not writing anything down. So that is one for sure that really stuck with me because it's also like, it's so Mike, it's just like.
And Jack brought up reps earlier. That's just reps. I mean, you're that confident in yourself to be able to just wing it. That's doing 50 years of play-by-play.
Right. Like no moment there is going to surprise you, basically.
And you have complete confidence in yourself to deliver at the moment, regardless of what it is.
Yeah. So I would say that is one that really stuck out to me. I'll kind of think on it here, and if something else comes to mind, I'll pop in with that. But that's the one that for sure when I asked him that and that was his answer, I just feel like that's kind of rare. Like, because most broadcasters, they want to nail that big call. It's career defining. Your team wins a championship, that call gets played back forever and ever and ever, and you don't want to stumble over it. And to me, it takes a lot of confidence, like you said, and a lot of belief in yourself to be like, I know what I'm going to say. Like, when the moment comes, I'll be ready. So, really cool. Really cool.
He is such a nice man. It was so great to have him down here, especially it was in the pretty early days of the show. Mike, he's been doing this for 45 years, and he just took a chance on Troy and I. It came down. We had a great time, and it was so great to hear him. He said that call of say it slowly and savor it.
Yeah.
I was like, man, this is so awesome.
You're like, Mike, can you just say it into the mic for me real quick?
One more time, Mike. But it was so great to see him get a banner in the rafters.
Oh, man, so sick.
Yes.
And I don't know if fans have been over to Eck at the end of the season. We put the like decal, the logo of his in front of his booth on the press box there. And it's just like he will always it will always be his thing. He will always be the voice of Wichita State. The first time people were like, oh, you're the new voice, it just sounded wrong to me because it's like, no, that's Mike. While I'm honored to get to do this for a living, it almost feels like I kind of have to blaze my own trail because nobody could be Mike Kennedy. It's impossible. So I just have to try to be me and hope that that's good enough.
Yeah.
That's the right mindset.
It is. Yeah. Nobody's asking you to be Mike. You're your own man, and you're going to do a great job.
I appreciate that.
But after 46 years of Mike, he retires. Wichita State conducts a national search of over 100 candidates to fill the position. Then on June 4th of 2026, Wichita State names Denning Gerig the voice of the Shockers. How special.
The day after my birthday, by the way, which was just like a really fun 48 hours for me personally.
How confident were you?
Dude, did you hear him say like over 100 candidates? Like I was not confident at all.
Really? Wow.
There were a lot of really, really talented broadcasters who applied for this job. People who were already at Division I schools as the voice of that particular school. People with long ties to Wichita State. Tons of people where if Wichita State had chosen them, I would have been like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, yeah, that's a good pick. I applied because it's like, this is the dream and you got to go for it. But at no point was I ever like, got it. Like, like no chance. And I got to be honest with you, that number of 100 plus is low. Like, I talked to some people that I'm close with in the industry and they said that this was the most coveted broadcasting job of this hiring cycle and that he thinks that there were upwards of like 250 people who would have reached out. So, hard job to get, very difficult job to get. Obviously, I'm extremely thrilled that I'm the one who got chosen, but it was a really cool experience, and getting to tell my parents was top of the list because they knew how invested in this process I was and like how badly I wanted it. And so, like, that moment in the living room with them is something that I'll remember forever. And then getting to talk to Mike about it was really special. He wrote me a really nice note that I probably won't ever share with anybody because it was just kind of like a one voice to the next kind of a thing. And then he gave me an old microphone at the passing of the mic ceremony that we called it. And Mike also said some things there that I've never like expected him to say about, how he thinks that I'll do a great job and how I'm like the right fit for this. And I was sitting there crying. I was like, first of all, terrible first impression for the good people of Wichita State who were just like, all right, our next voice is a blubbering moron. This is great. But it was just hard to sit there and be like, this is happening. Like the thing that you wanted your entire life is happening right now. Can you be in this moment? Just a really special couple of days, man. I hope everybody at some point in their life gets an opportunity to experience that feeling of like, I have worked really hard for this and it is paying off, because that's how it felt for me.
Who was the next person you told after your parents?
Like aside from our dog, I don't think she understood. I have a group text with a couple of other broadcasters that I've met along the way, and we've kind of like stayed in touch. And they were really pulling for me. So you guys probably know, like getting to shoot a group text out to the boys, where it's just where it's just like, I got it. And like, all the heart reactions and the thumbs up and stuff like that. And it was, so getting to share that with them was pretty special. A lot of them have like kind of gotten their dream job in the last few years. One of them is now with the Dallas Stars. One of them is with the Pittsburgh Penguins. So like, a lot of these guys have made it at really high levels, and it just felt like I kind of got to, for a second, join that fraternity of like, hey guys, like I also got a really cool job. Like that was a neat experience, because they also know how hard it is to get a job like this and the kind of work that goes into it.
You planted your flag, said, I arrived.
I don't know if it was like that demonstrative, like it was maybe just like a nestling of the flag rather than a planting, but yeah, like
go ahead and plant it.
Like, I feel like I get a chance to be a part of something that has meant so much to me. Like, grew up in Wichita, went to Wichita State, like there's nothing that means more to me than Wichita State Athletics. And so it's like the fact that I get to be the mouthpiece for this athletic department through what I hope will be like some just special moments, the kind that like Mike got to experience. I just don't know if there's anything cooler than that. I've only got 45 and a half more years to go to match Mike. But just like, it's hard not to think of like, wow, what am I going to get a chance to experience? Am I going to get a chance to call us going to Omaha, or like call us going to a Final Four? And I just get the chills, man. Like knowing what it means to me, and also like we said, knowing what it means to Wichita. Like when Shocker Athletics is good, it feels like everywhere you go, you're just seeing it and feeling it, and it's like I'll get to be on the front lines of that. So pretty sick.
Mm-hmm.
You're taking over at an exciting time. You see in this non-conference schedule, Wichita State's built for this upcoming season. This is the first year, in my opinion, Wichita State typically gets kind of in the transfer portal, they take a hit. This was kind of one of the biggest for sure of winning in the portal. And the coaching staff is acting like they won with how they are scheduling games. They've got USC, which I believe is a quad one. They've got Kentucky at Rupp, definitely a quad one. K-State, Boise State, New Mexico, all in the non-conference.
Yeah.
Are any of those at Coke?
Boise State, New Mexico.
That's right. Yep. And then USC, Lake Tahoe. Yep. And then obviously at Kentucky. It's a non-conference schedule clearly built to fashion an at-large resume. It is not built to just accumulate wins. It is not built to collect checks with a bunch of buy games. It is like theoretically, if you do the right things in this non-con and then kind of take care of business in the American, you would put yourself in position to be an at-large caliber team. I think you're exactly right that it speaks to how Paul Mills and Kevin Saul viewed this roster because of the retention, which is, like you said, I mean, just so rare in college athletics these days to have good players and then they're back and you're like, I know these guys. And they got better as the year went on. I mean, Dylan Battie and Will Berg at the end of last season, it was like, these are going to be dudes. These guys come back next year. These are going to be dudes. And it is impossible to not be excited about this team. I mean, I'm sure you've had a lot of guests on who know a lot about Wichita State athletics, but like when you break down this roster, it's like, this is a freaking good team. Like, I am pumped to watch this team play basketball, and I don't think they're just going to Kentucky to collect a check. I think they're going there to win a basketball game. Like, that's a pretty exciting feeling.
Super exciting.
Yeah.
Super exciting.
Oh, it's great. It's great because they wouldn't have scheduled this if they didn't think they had the guys.
Yeah.
In years prior, they're probably not even trying to get in touch with a team like Kentucky or a team like USC. They think they've got the guys to go in there and win. You can tell.
Yeah. I think there's a comfort level with this roster, and it's like you don't have to go through the awkward first date of feeling each other out. This roster's already on the third date where we know that your celebrity crush is Adam Sandler. Like, we know the weird stuff already. Like, I love that going into this season, our fans, it's not going to take like 4 or 5 games to figure out like, oh, okay, this is how TJ Williams likes to attack the bat. Like, they already know. They've already seen it. So it feels like the foundation is already laid with this group. And then they added 5 newcomers who I think are going to be really good. Like, I think it felt very calculated what they went out and got. And it sounds like Paul Mills was like 5 for 5 in visits. Like, it was like, okay, we want this position, we want this position, and he just got them. So to me, that speaks volumes to like, all right, we knew what we needed and we got it, and we feel good about this team, and the schedule's kind of a result of that.
How is TJ Williams' foot? Did I see something where he was in a boot?
I did see him in a boot. I wish I had more info for you, but I truly have no idea.
I'll have to ask Taylor on that. I'm super excited for this year, man. I'm super excited for TJ Williams specifically. He's a local kid, and he's also really good. If he gets a 12, 15-footer jump shot to go with it, the way he attacks the rim, man, he's going to be tough to stop.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big storyline, to me at least, at the end of last season, it was like, okay, Dylan Battie is clearly developing into a really good basketball player. TJ Williams, really good basketball player. How can we get them out there together? One of them is going to have to shoot the basketball. And if they can develop a reliable jump shot, then it's like now you have both of these monsters out there at the same time just doing damage. So, and I'll be 100% honest with you. Like, I've seen some practices, and I think like an open practice where Will Berg has added a jumper too. Like, I would not be surprised to see this dude popping threes this year to go along with those guys. I just don't see a lot of weaknesses with the way that they have constructed this team. I feel like they will be very versatile in the way that they can go about it. They can win games in different ways. And TJ is such a huge part of that. I love his story of like, he was a ball boy with the really good Wichita State teams and stuck with the Shockers when that team got decimated in the portal and just said, nope, like, this is my hometown team. I'm sticking with him. He got hurt, missed a year, stayed with it, and then battled through, like, what was it, a concussion last year to really come on strong again at the end of the season. So if it all works out the way that I think we're hoping, I feel like that is just such a great story of, like, local kid stays with the process and gets rewarded for it. So let's hope that comes to fruition.
Oh, he could be a hometown hero.
No question. I mean, when you think about like the pantheon of the Freds and Rons and Takels and et cetera, Evan Wessel, another local kid, it's like if it goes the way that we want it to go, why wouldn't TJ Williams be considered in that group? It's because it's like he could be the guy who kind of like helped set the foundation of like
Bring it back.
I stayed with this program. Clearly, like Paul Mills has found something in his game that kind of unlocks it. He's an interesting player because he's just kind of in that tweener size. He's almost like a point forward. He just looks so comfortable driving to the basket. He's under control. He's a great passer.
He's huge.
Yeah, and he's just like gets to where he wants to go. And I think he is so fun to watch. Great rebounder. So he does a lot of things that help you win basketball games for sure.
He is a great rebounder, and he's so great driving towards the basket.
You get him on that left hand, and it's just like, good night.
I couldn't believe how big he was when we saw him at the baseball game. He's gigantic.
You should stand next to Will Berg, dude. Like, you ever want to feel
But
emasculated as a
that
human
hits you
being.
off the
like,
TV, where TJ's like, obviously they're all bigger than you think they are, but I just couldn't believe how big TJ Williams was.
Yeah.
I saw Will Berg at the Black and Gold Gala last weekend, and he was sitting, and he's almost taller than me.
How about the improvement of Will Berg from the beginning of the year to the end of the year last year? That was one of the more exciting things about last year.
No
Was
question.
Beginning of the year, he was just a raw big man. By the end of the year, he was a real weapon out there, and he could make his free throws.
Did you guys see, like, I felt like it was almost like tangible confidence from him as the year went on. Beyond just like the pure basketball stuff. It looked like a guy who believed that he was good at the end of the season. And basically, if he stayed out of foul trouble, he had a good basketball game. It was pretty much that simple. And so they ended up kind of bringing him off the bench to avoid those 2 early fouls, and it seemed to really work well with like a Okorafor. And now they're kind of trying for something similar. Sir Malanga brought in the portal, and then obviously Noah Hill is back to kind of create this 3-headed post monster. But I don't want to go too bold with like an on-air prediction here. I think Will Berg's going to be, if not the best player in this conference, like one of the best 2 or 3. I really do. Like, I think he's primed for an absolutely huge season, and I think so much of it goes back to the end of last year because he just looked like a guy who was confident. And when you have his skill set and confidence, it's a pretty fun thing to watch.
It was such a testament to him, as obviously, but also the staff.
No question.
With his development, Dylan Batiste development, the staff is working.
Yeah. They clearly stuck with him when he had some early season struggles. And I also got to give him a ton of credit for the move to the bench, because for a lot of guys, it's just like a symbolic thing of like, I want to be starting. Even if you're playing as many minutes, as you were as a starter, it's just the idea of coming off the bench that is just like, I don't know if I really want to do that. Clearly, Will Berg was like, whatever helps the team. Like, I'm in. And it worked for him. And so I love that, like, he was open to that and didn't kind of shy away from it. And then, yeah, they have unlocked something in him that I think is going to be very special to watch. I'm as excited about watching him as I am any player on this roster, and I'm excited about a lot of players.
Gosh,
Man,
I am pumped for this year.
me too, man. Are they the favorites to win preseason favorites?
Is
that out yet?
I don't know if we've released a preseason poll.
That one up.
I
Trying
don't
to think,
think it's
because
out yet.
Tulsa lost a lot of guys to the portal, didn't they?
Yeah, they got eaten by the portal.
Yeah.
Which is too bad. They had a fun team as well.
Yeah, I think they'll be good. I think South Florida will be good, even though they had
Tulsa's
to
good.
totally reload. Like, I trust that staff to go get good players, but I think Tulsa will be right there. Like,
The rivalry is so fun. It kind of got reignited in a little way last year.
What a crazy year playing them 4 times.
Yeah, I know.
And what a great game too. To like, everyone hates that you lose the last game of the season, but like, it almost took some of the sting off it for me. That was just such a good basketball game. Like, and I talked to Mike about that actually. I was like, "How'd you feel that was like your last Shocker basketball game?" And he's like, "I'm glad it was a good one." Like coming all the way back from, what was the deficit, like 21 in the first like 5 minutes.
At
It was
least.
something
It was
ridiculous.
early. It was
like
like
30
30
to
to
9.
8, yeah.
Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And came all the way back, briefly take the lead. So he was like, "I'm glad it was a great game." But those two teams, you could tell like there was a little something between them too, which made it fun. And then just both really good. So I'm excited to watch that. I hope it becomes, I don't know if it'll ever get back to the level of what it was, when it was at its peak in terms of a rivalry, but like, why not? Like, I think one of the big things that Wichita State has missed in the move to the American is rivalries. I'm sure you guys like, Creighton, Missouri State, Southern Illinois. Like, I loved hating those teams.
Northern Iowa.
Seth Tuttle.
Mm-hmm.
Northern Iowa, though, man.
West
God,
Washington.
You can't
West
hate.
Washington,
They were
you dog.
so dang good.
They always had a
when
cook.
Wichita State was.
They always had a cook that could shoot it.
Yes. And it was spelled the way Coke was spelled, but pronounced differently. And it's like, all right, whoever wins this, we get to pronounce it. But I mean, like, you kind of hated those teams, but in like you respected them, but it was like
Totally.
you were excited to play them. And as fun as some of the games have been in the American, it feels like Wichita State needs a rivalry and the fan base needs a rivalry. So if it's Tulsa, sweet. Like, I'm all in. I felt like we almost got there a little bit with Cincinnati for a couple of years, just played so many great games against them. Obviously, they moved on to the Big 12, so it's like, who's that going to be next? I would love it if it's a team 2 hours down the road. That'd be awesome.
Yes. It'd be great if it was Memphis, too, but now they're kind of spinning their tires.
I don't know what to make of Memphis. They'll always be talented. They'll always have...
Penny's still there?
Penny's still there, yep. They'll always have really great players. I got to give them a ton of credit for their non-conference schedule. I don't know if you guys saw that, but they are playing some teams. You should pull that up. They are not dodging any smoke this year, so Penny's going for it.
Oh, good for them.
Yeah.
They need a good year.
I think he is perceived to be on the hot seat by a lot of people. I don't know how true that is. I think he just kind of is Memphis basketball. I'd be really surprised, I guess, if they moved on from him. But, I mean, yeah, they didn't have a great season last year, so I'm sure he is feeling a little bit of pressure.
How is your relationship with Paul Mills?
Paul and I are getting to know each other because I did not work with his sport directly as an SID, so it has been, a few weeks of just going to practices, hanging around. I did the film room series with him, which was so cool.
Yeah, that's great to watch.
Is that on YouTube?
It is on YouTube. Yeah, it's on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, wherever you want to look for it. That was awesome because it was like I would just ask him like one general question and just let him go. And you can tell that is a dude who loves film, loves watching film. I listened to a podcast that he did with Paul Solentrop, and he talked about how when he's recruiting guys in the portal, he does all the film, puts it all together, which I think is pretty unique. Like in most cases, that's something you would kind of delegate to an assistant or a volunteer or something like that, a GA maybe. And he's like, no, I want to watch all the film. So I think he is very in his element with that kind of a thing. And just getting to be in the room while he dissected the game, I feel like I learned more in like an hour than I could have learned, at a million practices, just like listening to him break down certain clips and talk about certain actions was super cool. That guy knows basketball at a level that makes me feel straight up dumb. And I'm excited to just kind of be around him. You know what I mean? Like I think I will just try to be a sponge and just be in the room with that guy and just listen to the way that he diagnoses the game, because he is a basketball nut, and just feel like I have a lot to learn from him.
I was so happy to see them turn that season around last year because, it had been year 3 with Paul. It's, kind of spun their tires a little bit. First 2 years, obviously, it's hard to establish a program. It was just great to see that, especially after facing real adversity, going 0-3 in the Bahamas last year.
Yes.
That team stuck together. They go down to Florida Atlantic, get beat by 28. That team stuck together and then ended up having a really nice, strong finish. It was great to see that for Paul Mills.
Yeah, I think it's the finish almost allows you to kind of take that momentum into the next year. It's like if we had the exact same record, but maybe we lose 6 of our last 8, I don't think people feel the same way going into this year that they do now. It's almost like a recency bias thing, but it's like, okay, we kind of saw the finished product at the end there. And more than anything else with the Paul Mills era here at Wichita State, what you can point to is that his teams just have gotten better. And I don't just mean in terms of like the win total that's improved over the course of his tenure here, but I just mean you watch the first basketball game of the season, you watch the last basketball game of the season, you're like, that's a better team. And you guys talked about Will Berg and Dylan Battie and TJ Williams. Like, you can point to all these guys and be like, that guy's better now than he was 3 months ago. And I don't think anybody could argue that. So if you're looking for a reason to buy into what he is doing, I think you got to start there. That unquestionably his teams get better. And so when you look at the non-con schedule that he's put together, it's like now if they can just have the quick start that they're looking for and then still have the growth and the progression that he has shown the ability to do, what's the limit for this team? Like, I think they can be really freaking good.
I hope they're in the conversation for an at-large because they've got the talent to do it.
Yeah. I'm curious how good the American will be. Like, can the American be a multi-bid league? It seems like with what I mentioned with Memphis and their schedule, it seems like teams are willing to like at least try to be an at-large capable team. There we go. I mean, outside of Jackson State and Little Rock, like, where's the gimmies for them?
Wow. Iowa State, VCU,
Evansville too. I'll throw them in there.
Arkansas.
Those are exhibitions, aren't they?
I think those top two are
really?
exhibitions.
Mm-hmm. They start out neutral floor, Iowa State.
And I'm not sure who's at the battle for Atlantis, but I'm just going to assume that it's a couple of good teams.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So at Baylor, at Texas, Utah State is always really good. Louisville, obviously, Vandy. Like, so they're going for it. And I think more teams need to, maybe not to that level, but like give yourself a shot.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Give yourself a crack at a couple quad ones.
I mean, why not? Like, yeah, I think with the way that the net is built, formulaic, you almost have to have at least a couple of those quad ones in there just to even have a chance, or you better blow out every single quad four that you're playing, which gives you very little margin for error. So scheduling is really interesting right now in college basketball. Like the way that you have to build these schedules feels like you almost don't see like those quad 3 games, like the 100 to 150, because it's like those teams are good enough to beat you, but not good enough to help you if you beat them. So I feel like I've seen a ton of schedules that are like quad 1, quad 2, and quad 4. And it's like, that's the whole schedule, because then you get those games where like maybe you steal 1 or 2, and either way they help you, and then you can beat up on the quad 4s and get your wins and still have like the efficiency that you need to help your net. But it's made for like very interesting scheduling where it's like, okay, we should win these games for sure. And then maybe if we can just steal 1 or 2 here, we're in good shape. But kind of a tough puzzle to put together.
Who was the team that went almost undefeated last year, but had like 0 quad
Miami
1 wins?
of Ohio?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They didn't have it like, or maybe they had 1, I don't know, but they had barely any resume builders, went 35-0, I think, or 30-1 or whatever. And I think they got an at-large.
They were in the first 4.
Yeah.
First 4.
They won a game. They beat SMU, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
They were a good team. Yeah. I mean, there are different ways to skin a cat. I just feel like if you give yourself a shot, give yourself a little margin for error. That is, and frankly, like, I feel like Wichita State fans love that we're playing like USC and Kentucky. Like, it gives them games to be like national kind of feel of game. Not that like New Mexico and Boise State aren't good games, because they are. But let's just be honest. Like, you go to Kentucky, every Shocker fan is going to be watching that basketball game. Like, that is a special arena against a blue blood program. That's exciting.
And you can actually see how good you are.
Totally.
Like, we're going to see how good we are fairly quickly.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Like, what, USC's second game of the season, right? Like, let's do this. Let's figure out where we're at. I think it's a great idea. Like, I'm super excited for it. I get to call a basketball game in Rupp Arena. Like, that's awesome.
That is
so awesome. I'm curious what the Shocker contingent will be there.
I know. I'm like, what? Because it all comes down to like allotment.
Probably pretty good.
You know, like, will they give us like 150? Like, I have no idea how it works. There's going to be yellow there. I'm very confident in that for sure.
Man, I'd kill to go to that. And it's going to Lake Tahoe. How beautiful Lake Tahoe is to watch them play USC.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, in late October.
Oh,
just
I bet
gorgeous.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I'll let you guys know how it is. I'll send a picture.
Yeah,
Please
please
do.
do. Please do. Speaking of the first four, how awesome is that for Wichita to get the first four for the next 2 years? What a great get.
Super cool.
We're thinking of bringing the podcast studio, placing it right in front of Interest Bank, just doing podcasts out there.
Yeah,
during
you
the
guys should
first
do
four.
like
a live show.
Set up like a sign where it's just like drop your hot takes. You know, like
Yeah.
stop into the studio. Like you got 90 seconds to make your pitch right here. I think you guys can get some tremendous content from that. I'd be in there and I'd be talking about like obscure baseball scoring rules. I'd be like, an RBI ground out should count as a sacrifice. Like if a sacrifice fly does, it so should a ground out. But I think just like the feel of downtown Wichita when that tournament is here is like, okay, like things are happening here. Like I love it.
You're
I
going to
think
have
it's
all these
great.
visiting fans coming in.
Yeah.
We should totally do something. We
Yeah.
got to come up with something good.
I wonder if you got to get like a permit or something to do that.
Is there a podcast permit? Is that a thing?
I don't know if you can like set up like
Or even like bring a camera around and just have a couple questions for opposing fans.
I'm sure you could do that. I didn't know if there's like a not the word vendor or anything, but some sort of thing like
You
that.
guys should carry around like, have you seen bench warmers where he's like, I am 12 and it's got like a $20 bill in it? That should be your permit. You know, you should just be, like, in case anyone stops you, are you allowed to record here? It's like, oh yeah, I got this permit. Like here you go. You know, that's
a little bribe.
I think you guys have a great chance to capture some really cool stuff. But it's great because it's like there's just energy in downtown, and I love to see people walking around there. It's one of my biggest complaints about downtown Wichita is that sometimes it just feels like there's no life to it. Like you don't see people out walking around. It's like when that tournament's here, it's like, oh, okay, like it's happening. You know, like people are here. They're out and about. Like things are moving. So I love to see it, and I hope it continues for sure.
We'll be the first four this coming spring.
Yeah.
Oh boy, we got to get brainstorming.
I think I saw something that
the
if
mobile pod.
If it goes well,
Yeah.
they might have it for the next 6.
Yeah, I don't know.
I bet it'll
the
go well.
specifics. I'm not 100% sure.
Oh, Wichita's going to crush that.
Yeah.
Wichita is a college basketball town. Everybody's got a team. A lot of Jayhawks, a lot of Wildcats, a lot of Shockers.
Mm-hmm.
It's a college basketball town.
Agreed.
Especially if, like, obviously we don't know who's going to be in the first four, but it's like if you could get a big, like, power conference team that just happens to be in that range.
Yeah.
Like, how many times would you have a chance to see, whatever the school is, come to Wichita and play a game? Like, and I'm sure there'd be a fan base there. So,
Or even imagine if like a Nebraska or a OU or even Texas, one of those
is
teams
always an
getting
11, it seems like.
Yeah,
They're
getting
gonna
the
be
first four. This
I was
place
going to
is
say
gonna be full.
Texas, but I was like, I didn't want to put that out there in the universe. So, yeah.
Seems like they're always an 11.
I think either way, like, no matter what, some power conference team is going to slip to an 11 where it's like, oh, that's a big name coming to Wichita. Like, they've got a great player, that kind of a thing. So, it'll be cool. And it just feels like it's nice for Wichita to be involved on like a national level when it comes to that kind of a thing. And the NCAA tournament is the greatest thing that we've ever created as a human species. I hate the expansion. I don't know how you guys feel about it. I feel like it was beautiful and perfect at 64 teams, and we've just kind of progressively ruined it a little bit. But
Are they expanding again?
yeah, because it's up to like 76 now, right?
This coming year, it's up to 76.
Is that right?
Is that right?
I think it's 76.
Give it a goog.
I'll
I
bet
think
it's
you're
sleep.
right. Wow.
And I mean, does that give Wichita State a slightly better chance to get in? Yes, that would be awesome. But like the tournament itself, I'm talking purely the aesthetics of like what was perfect. I think 64, or like maybe you could talk me into 65 with that play-in game between the two 16 seeds, where it's like it's the SWAC versus the MEAC. This is the biggest thing that's ever happened to Holy Cross. Like that's fine, but
The men's expanded
76,
opening
yeah.
round begins on March 16,
Wow.
2027. Yes, 76 teams. Now, does that mean teams like Wichita State will have a better chance of getting in, or does that
No.
mean the bottom of the barrel of the
Yeah.
SEC
Yeah.
gets in?
I think we all know the answer to that question.
I think we do too.
I'm being hopeful. I'm choosing to be optimistic on this pod right now, but yeah, it's going to be the 12th place team from the ACC instead because it's money. And it's more games. Like that's why they expand the tournament. It's more games, more TV money. Like, so it's like we had this nice thing and we just can't ever like stop it. Like, not to completely go off the rails, but like the NFL seasons, like they just keep adding games to it because it's like, oh, look how much money we can make with another game, with another game, with
And that's
another
why
game.
the NBA will never drop from 82, even though people say drop from 82, make the regular season more beneficial or more impactful. Why would they ever do that?
Because they deal with like load management, like players taking games off because it's hard to play 82 games. But they're never going. No money-making sports league is ever going to say, let's play less. Never going to happen. So, sure, 76 will be great. I still love the NCAA tournament. It holds a dear place in my heart. My dad and I he was a school teacher, and he would bring home a giant sheet of paper from his high school, and he would hang it. It was like basically this wall. Hang it on my bedroom wall, and then we would take like stencils and stencil out the bracket. And after each game, go in there with the Sharpie and, fill it in. And it's like, so perfect. Now it's 76, and it's not going to be an even bracket. It's going to bother me.
Yeah.
But,
Is that the new look bracket? Oh, looks the same.
Yeah, I'm too stupid to figure out what's different here.
I guess it's just the addition of this opening round, I guess, would be
It's the first 4?
I-
Oh, God, I don't know.
So like automatic qualifiers no longer are just in the field. You see on the right there with the 15s and 16s. So it's like if you are in those lower ranked conferences, you're no longer just like in the field of 64. You would theoretically have to play another game.
Okay.
And then the at-larges are both 11s and 12s now.
Well, we'll see.
Listen,
I'm
still
gonna have to
gonna
see it on
watch.
TV
I'm
to
still
fully
gonna
understand
watch.
it.
They
Same.
could expand it to 112, and I'd still end up watching. But
Oh,
it's
that would be sick. Sick in a bad way.
just put all the teams in there. How many D1s are there? 364.
You can make it to the
something
Sweet
like that?
80.
Hang the banner, baby.
Yeah, hang the banner.
We took down Morgan State. Like, we're in. So
Yep.
I don't know. Calling an NCAA tournament game would be like bucket list for me regardless. And if that's in the round of 76, that's in the round of 76. So
I tell you
whatever
what, man,
happens.
with the roster this team has, you might get the dream come true.
Fingers crossed, man. I hope that you and I are clipping that moment right there in a few months, and we're going back and being like, we called it, So
Yes.
I hope you're right. Hope you're onto something.
Well, Denning, that's all I had. This was fantastic. You got anything for us?
No, you guys are doing a great thing here. Really appreciate the work that you put into it and having so many great Wichita State people out here. I feel like I am so far down on the rungs of that totem pole, but it is an honor to be included, and thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it.
Our pleasure.
You got anything, T-Roy?
No, we hit it.
Alrighty, man. Good luck this season. Enjoy it. You're going to do great.
Thanks so much. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you. We look forward to hearing you.